It is 7 o'clock. We have a quorum. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Everybody, please sign in if you need and take your seats. Roll has been taken. We have a quorum. Hopefully, everyone has had a chance to peruse the agenda. If so, I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kurt,
Second.
second by Sebastian. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Approval of minutes from the January meeting. Anybody have any additions or corrections? Hearing none, look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Kurt,
Second.
second by Sebastian. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes are approved. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on something that is not on the agenda? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on something that is not on the agenda? One more time, anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on something that is not on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the next. Matt, we have some people. Do we have people online? It appears that we do.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just Ken Severson from Clay County and Darren Brook from Clay County.
Okay, thank you. Okay. First item on the agenda is the Clay County Land Development Code update. Look for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Sebastian, seconded by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Meeting is hearing is open. Matt?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to provide another input opportunity for citizens, residents, any one who would be interested from the public in providing input on our land development ordinance update. You know, we are kind of at the end stage of this update that was started back in April of 2023, so almost 2 years ago. We do have a full draft that is available. It is on the website. I can go to that right now just so everyone knows where it is. So we have all the draft chapters here online and available for public input and comment. I know my understanding is that the Planning Commission will be kind of hearing the full draft at their March 18th meeting, and from there making a decision on whether or not to recommend it to the Board of Commissioners for adoption. Board of Commissioners would likely hold at least 2 public hearings, is my understanding on the ordinance, likely in April. And so that's kind of where we're at with that. Any questions for me at all? The board did have a work group session on the ordinance. We did get some good comments there. And then county staff who have some role or responsibilities as prescribed in the ordinance did also meet on that as well. And also got some good feedback there as well.
I'd like to thank Matt and all the commissioners that were part of the group working on this. It's been a long process, and there's some really well-needed changes, clarifications in that. Anyone have anything further for Matt? Hearing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Offered.
Motion by Jenny,
Second.
second by Kurt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Red River Valley Co-op Power petition for rezoning. Look for a motion to open the public hearing.
So offered.
Motion
Second.
by Jenny,
Second.
second by Sebastian. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the applicant is petitioning to rezone a parcel ID 23.034.0400. It's owned by Oberg LLC. It's in part of the north half of the northeast quarter of Section 34, Township 140, Range 48, Oakport Township. Moving that from agricultural general urban expansion district tier 2 to highway commercial. And so here's the location of that parcel. It's at the south east corner of County State Aid Highway 18 and 34th Street. It's just north of the County Resource Recovery Center and the DMV, right on the corner there. The zoning for this parcel currently, the base zoning district is agricultural general. The overlay zoning district is urban expansion district tier 2. That urban expansion district is essentially is within the city of Dilworth's extraterritorial area. So as the city grows and expands, this zoning district is in place to kind of help guide that future development and growth. So the request here is to rezone the property from agricultural general and that urban expansion district tier 2 to highway commercial. The property is agricultural. There aren't any structures on the property. The portion of the property that would be in this petition, it's this west section here. You can see it more on this plat. Approximately 20 acres is prime farmland. The crop equivalency rating is 72. There aren't any wetlands according to the National Wetland Inventory on the property. So going into the project proposal, so this would be kind of two entities. The first being the Rural Electric Supply Cooperative, or RESCO. They're a Midwestern electric supply cooperative, and they sell products to utilities. They are looking to build a 40 to 60,000 square foot distribution warehouse on Lot 1, Block 1, which is approximately 15 acres of the plat. And that's just kind of an example of what that might look like. So it'd be a precast building, 40 to 60,000 square feet, estimated building cost of 12 to 15 million. They'd be looking at building this facility in 2026, and they'd have office space to accommodate up to 30 employees. And on the other lot of the subdivision is the Red River Valley Co-op Power, and they're a local electric distribution cooperative, and they provide power to a significant portion of Clay County. They've done so for a long time. They're looking to build a 10 to 12,000 square foot service center on approximately 5-acre lot. And with that, they'd have a precast building with an office and shop to house their trucks and associated equipment, looking at office space to accommodate 5 to 7 employees, and looking at sometime in 2026 to 2028. Just going to go through the highway commercial standards. Minimum lot size is basically as big as the use would is necessary for the use. You need to have at least 100 feet of public right-of-way. Setbacks, there's a 50-foot front yard setback, a rear yard setback of 40 feet, and then in this case, there would be a 30-foot side lot setback. And there are lot coverage regulations, so 30% of the lot area shall be occupied, no more than 30% shall be occupied by buildings, and then it does have to have access to a public right-of-way as well. the subdivision information, so because this property is located in the city of Dilworth's extraterritorial area, they have the subdivision jurisdiction. And the county, though, has zoning jurisdiction, so there's kind of dual land use jurisdictions in this ET area. On February 5th of this year, the Dilworth Planning Commission did recommend approval of the preliminary plat for this subdivision, the Cooperative Energy subdivision, and then the Dilworth City Council did approve the preliminary plat with some conditions at their February 10th meeting. Those conditions would be that a 20-foot utility easement is established. Roadway accesses are designed in place for adequate distances for future street intersections, and they'd be in conformance with the City of Moorhead and Clay County access regulations. That the developer enters into an agreement with the City of Dilworth for future extension of utilities, and then that you also have a chance to review the proposed plat, which was in your packet, and provide any comments on that as well. How this request relates to our comprehensive and transportation plan. We have a goal to encourage commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with the agricultural and rural character of Clay County. The property is in the growth area of the city of Dilworth. It's near several existing industrial uses, also residential uses. The city does envision kind of a commercial light corridor along this east side of 34th Street, so moving from kind of a light industrial, and as you go south along 34th Street, going to commercial, and then maybe some residential as well, if I have that correctly. We also have an objective to promote value-added ag and commercial industrial development along transportation corridor and hubs. So this is on County State Highway 18. The traffic counts that I was able to find from the state for CSAH 18 were from 2021, and they were seeing average annual daily traffic of about 2,600 cars. And then 34th Street was about 1,600 cars. I would say these numbers are likely higher in 2025, and I don't know if our county engineer has any higher numbers than that, but probably not. Okay. And then we do have objective to avoid or mitigate against commercial and industrial development that increases the potential for land use conflicts with rural, residential, or ag uses. So there are residential properties that are within a half mile of this proposed rezoning. But many of the adjacent and nearby properties are agricultural, institutional, and institutional being like the Clay County, the DMV, the Withdrawal Management and Detox Center, and then the Resource Recovery Center as well, just down the street. Any questions for me at all?
I have a question, Matt. So they're allowed to build on 30% or of the property. What is on the remaining 70%?
So that could be in highway commercial, it'd probably be landscaping, parking lot, things like that. A development like this will probably need some construction stormwater features as well as required by the state. Otherwise, I'll let the applicant speak to you, but I would imagine a lot of it would be just open space.
That was my question, how much impervious space would be on that?
Yeah, and any thing over an acre would require a construction stormwater permit from the state, and then any finished impervious that would be over that too would require some permanent stormwater mitigation, best management practices. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Matt? If the applicant is present, would you like to State your name and your proposal, please.
Yep. Good evening, Commission. Thank you, Matt. My name is Rich Whitcomb with Red River Valley Co-op Power. I'm the CEO.
Good evening, I'm Chris Peterson. I'm the Regional Vice President of Rural Electric Supply Cooperative, DVA Resco.
So we're two cooperatives. We have a long-standing relationship, not-for-profit, member-owned. I think many in Clay County know who we are, and we're looking at this property, for Red River's perspective, to continue providing high service to Clay County, and this would allow us to do that for our linemen and for future growth in the county.
Anybody have any questions for him?
Thank you. Thanks for the application. I know we talked about an application from your company, I think, a couple years ago. I'm not going to go into that, but I appreciate your tenacity
We're
and
back.
in trying to find additional ways. You know, in a lot of the different committees and tables that I sit around with these meetings, we talk a lot about the power that's available in the county and how making sure, one, we have reliable power, but how we have an infrastructure that could potentially support bringing more power to the region, because I know sometimes that's tricky, particularly with bigger companies. So not necessarily a question, but just more of a thanks for your service to the citizens of Clay County, and thanks for being creative and figuring out ways to bolster your presence. I really do lean into the council member from Dilworth too. I think it makes a lot of sense for us to support something that the city of Dilworth also supports.
Yeah, we're looking forward to working with Dilworth, and hopefully all goes well.
Anybody have any comments or questions for Mr. Peterson?
Not a question, but I think Matt's been in conversation with city staff today, maybe even. I just confirmed just before I got here that they're totally fine with the conditions that Matt read through and their proposal as it was stated and passed at the planning and at the city council level. So we're on board with your plans.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this matter? Please come up to the podium and state your name.
Yeah, hi, my name is Kathy Byers, 4062 28th Avenue North, Moorhead. I'd just like to speak for myself and other residents who moved to a rural area to be in a rural area instead of seeing development near where they live. I know REA has a facility right on Highway 75, and I'm wondering why they can't expand their area over there, which is 2 or 3 miles from the area they're looking at. And just voice my opinion for wanting to live in a rural area without development. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak for or against? Okay, we have someone online that wishes to speak. Bill or Kathy, are you there? Oh,
Yeah, that was
okay.
Yep.
Sorry. I just assumed it was an online thing, because okay. Thank you. One more time. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against? Anybody else have any questions for Matt? Hearing none, would look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Sebastian, second by Kurt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, now it's time for the findings of fact.
And Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I do have the findings up on the screen. Again, have drafted these findings that, based on the information that we had prior to the hearing. So if there's anything that you would see need to change at all, they're your findings, so do what you will with them.
Would you like me to read from the screen or the abbreviated version?
I think the abbreviated version's fine unless there's any discussion from anyone at all.
Okay, number 1, encourage commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with the agricultural and rural character of Clay County.
Mr. Chair, I was looking at the findings for the rezoning.
Be the, yeah, I'm in the wrong area here.
So there's 2 and then, yeah.
Okay. Effects of use. Okay, effects of use. In granting an interim use, the planning commission shall consider the effects of the proposed use upon the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of occupants of surrounding lands, existing and anticipated land uses, traffic conditions, including parking facilities on adjacent streets and lands, and the effect on agricultural usage and values of property, scenic views in the surrounding areas, and the effect on the proposed use of existing comprehensive plans. Okay. Use and enjoyment of other property. The interim use will not be
Mr.
injurious.
Chair, are you reading the zoning amendment findings of fact?
I'm
That's that's,
apparently. Maybe I should look at the big sheet here, in bigger print. Yes, now I have it.
yeah, and that first one is the same,
Okay,
so we can go right down to
okay. Additional findings. In addition, the planning commission shall make the following findings among others where applicable. The development authorized by the rezoning will not create an excessive burden on any public facilities, utilities which serve or are proposed to serve in the area. Staff has written there will not be any immediate new impact to the public facilities or utilities. And the developer would need to enter agreement with the city of Dilworth to facilitate city utility connection. Second item on this, the rezoning is reasonably related to the overall needs of the county and to the existing land use. And staff has a sentence in here that the rezoning would be consistent with the surrounding land use and future growth and development of the city of Dilworth. Consistency with ordinance. The rezoning is consistent with the purpose of this ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant seeks classification. And the proposed use does meet everything in the highway commercials district. Conflict with comprehensive plan. The rezoning is not in conflict with the comprehensive plans of any township, city of the county, or the county land use plan. City of Dilworth, Oakport Township, and the city of Moorhead already have, there's agreements in place for this. And we're covered there. Prematurely stimulate public investment in utilities. The rezoning will not individually or cumulatively stimulate premature public investment in the facilities and utilities described in subsection D.2.A of this section. And it would not. City of Dilworth has given its approval. So looking for any discussion or a motion? up here. Let's look at,
So, Mr. Chair, if you were to make a motion, recommended motion, the staff's recommended motion, it would be recommending approval to the Board of Commissioners, but only for the subject property described in the Cooperative Energy Subdivision Plat. So it wouldn't be the entire parcel, it would just be that 20 acres in the plat. I think that's an important distinction we'll need to make. So the remainder of the parcel would be in that Urban Expansion District Tier 2 and Agricultural General.
now is there a, so there are no board or staff recommendations, it's just we are to look at and discuss and move this to the full commissioner board.
Yep, it would have to go to the full Board of Commissioners for approval.
Do you want those conditions that the city of Dilworth put in there?
You certainly could if you,
On
but those are more related to the plat itself. I think if you as a planning commission had any comments on the plat that you would like to see, then you could certainly have a separate motion to send those comments to the city of Dilworth. Otherwise, if you were to just make a recommendation for the rezoning, I think in talking with city staff, that would suffice as comments for the plat.
then the city would have their own
Yep,
agreement with the developer.
yep.
That's fine.
Okay, any further questions, comments? Hearing none, look for a motion to approve or not approve, sending this to the Board of Commissioners.
I'll make a motion, move to recommend approval of the rezoning of the portion of the subject property described in the Cooperative Energy Subdivision Plat from Agricultural General Urban Expansion District Tier 2 to Highway Commercial to the Clay County Board of Commissioners.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mr. Steichen.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just going to let you know I'll be abstaining from this vote. So,
Second.
And a second by Sebastian. Any further discussion? Please note that Kurt Stubstead has recused himself from this vote. Does that work? Okay, thank you. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Chair votes aye. That need to be said. The petition is moved to the County Board of Commissions. Thank you. Next order of business is Trenton and Jennifer Evenson, request for interim use, home occupation permit. Look for a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kurt Stubstead,
Second.
second by Sebastian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for an interim use permit for a home occupation for a bed and breakfast. This property is zoned agricultural general, and the surrounding properties are also zoned agricultural general. This type of permit is allowed in the zoning district if it meets minimum requirements. It's on the east side of 60th Street, 1.5 miles north of County State Aid Highway 34 and 1 mile west of County State Aid Highway 11. So there are residents, 6 ag buildings, and 7 grain bins on the property. So the request is to operate a rural bed and breakfast out of the renovated ag buildings on the property. So mainly this building right here. There'd be a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom guest suite, and then converted steel grain bins that can also accommodate 2 to 4 guests. So total, you could have 22 guests staying at one time. There would be on-site amenities, be open year-round for bookings. They did do a market analysis and used a 3.5-day stay for that, but didn't say whether they'd limit the length of their stay at all. So, public lodging establishments do need to be licensed before they can operate, and then any remodeling of existing establishments does require a plan review, just to make sure that there's appropriate egress, ingress, spacing needs. There might be need for an additional septic for the added buildings in the renovated ag buildings or added bedrooms. So it'd have to meet Clay County environmental health requirements. The applicant has been in touch probably over the past 8 or 9 months with planning staff, and then also with our environmental health director, Kent Severson. And also they would need to have a safe and adequate supply of water for each of these suites. So it would have to be essentially tested for all the arsenic, E. coli, bacteria, and all the other contaminants.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
folks that put their properties on like a VRBO, are they subject to those, licensure?
Yes, yep. And this one is, the difference here being that we do have provisions for a bed and breakfast, but it'd be operated out of the primary dwelling on a property. So this is a home occupation essentially, because unlike a lot of VRBOs or Airbnbs where the person might not live on the property, in this case, the applicants and the business owners would live on the property. So we have received complaints from other neighbors in the vicinity just with odors from just a nearby industrial or agricultural use. So not sure if the applicant's property has experienced that at all. We also have not received any public comment for this request, and the township has not provided any comment. I believe that the stemming from this, I want to say it's this facility down here. The Felton Bee Piler. And they're working with the state on addressing those issues. So this request, how it relates to our comprehensive plan, we have a goal to maximize the potential of Clay County as a thriving center for agricultural, business, recreation, while maintaining and enhancing its livability, and that home occupations that follow the regulations of our county do provide for unique opportunities for residents to live and work in the county, and home occupations have the potential to enhance both the economy and livability of Clay County. We have a land use goal to establish a comprehensive growth management strategy that promotes orderly and efficient growth of residential, commercial, and industrial development while preserving the county's rural character. And in this case, it would do that. And then we have a goal to plan land uses and implement standards to minimize land use conflicts. So, and home occupations that meet our code should not contribute to land use conflicts. Any questions for me on this request at all?
Kind of an interesting business plan. Okay, anybody else have any questions or comments for Matt? Hearing none, if the applicant is present, would they like to come up to the podium, introduce yourselves, and speak?
Hi, I'm Trenton Evenson. This is my wife, Jennifer Evenson. We live on the property, and a couple years ago, my daughter got married at a local wedding venue, and there's no place to stay out there. They have to travel 50 minutes to get into Fargo. And after a wedding, you know how people can sometimes be. And so we started looking around. We found this farmstead, and we both grew up in the country and wanted to live out there. But this also provided a lot of opportunities for us to provide a service in the community of having a place to stay. And we'd also like to do retreats out there for, and just building up the local community out there.
We have a large family of our own. We have 8 children. And so when there's really nowhere to, you know, do anything. So that was another reason for, you know, having a place, because with 8 children and 4 grandchildren, we just wanted to have a nice place where families could get together and, you know, have somewhere to be. There's nowhere to do that in this community.
So if we would go to a hotel system, we would have to get a minimal 4 or 5 rooms ourselves, and you're staying at a pool or something like that, where this we're providing a family or whoever can come out and stay out there and run around the grass areas we have. And just, like I said, we grew up being on the country, and just being able to be in the fresh air and see the stars that are so bright out there, and the peace and quiet.
Well, I appreciate you guys making this effort, and according to Matt, you've been in contact with the Needed County people to know that, you know, there are some significant hoops to jump through regarding, you know, sanitation, water.
Yep, and we've talked to all those people and getting that all fixed. When we bought it, it wasn't fixed. We are fixing it now.
Well, that was a separate piece.
Does anyone, Mr. Steichen?
To the Evensons, I envy you living in the country. I really do. Having grown up in the country on the farm, it's something I understand how you, what you just stated. The part I was wondering about, it doesn't reference you, but talking about the odors in that area, unaware of the applicant's property, is that something that's going to be an issue? I mean, but I'm sure you've figured it out already or talked about it.
Yeah, it's from the Felton Beat Piler. We do on certain days, we're northwest of the Piler, so we do get a little bit of smell out there, but really, we're not in a direction that the wind carries a lot up there a lot of the time, so.
Tell the people it's a smell of money.
Someone else's money.
Well, and unfortunately to us, it's just one of those things, because we understand. But as Matt had said, they have a lagoon, and I think that's their biggest problem, and it sounds like they're doing something to fix that.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I grew up the son of a beet farmer, so, yeah.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this matter? Please come to the podium and state your name and speak your piece.
Hi, I'm Tim Dulcet. We're the owners of the land around the property. I don't have a problem with the property. I'm worried about 24/7 farming during the spring and the fall. It's going to be noisy, very noisy. A lot of lights. You know, also, there's a grove of trees that's not on your property.
That is correct.
We're just a little worried that if somebody goes out there and gets hurt, we don't want that either.
Okay, sir, please, speak to us.
Okay, all right.
No back and forth.
Okay. Those are my main issues. The lights, the noise in the spring and the fall. Farmer farms 24/7. During beet harvest, he's digging nonstop. And the farmland is 30 feet away from the building. Like I said, we have a grove of trees there that's on our still our property, not theirs. I don't want anybody to go in there and get hurt, just for safety purposes. Those are really all my concerns. I'm just trying to document what I feel could be an issue.
So, Mr. Chair, just regarding that, the first concern, we do in Minnesota have the right to farm laws in place that would protect the surrounding landowners during their agricultural operations. They're not considered a nuisance. And we do have that in our comprehensive plan as well, and in our county code.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak on this matter? One more time, anyone in the audience or online wish to speak? Hearing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kurt Stubsted.
Second.
Second by the other Kurt. Can never see his name. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Okay. Effective use. In granting an interim use, the planning commission shall consider the effect of the proposed use upon the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of occupants of surrounding lands, existing and anticipated land uses, traffic conditions including parking facilities on adjacent streets and land, and the effect on agricultural usage and values of property and scenic views in the surrounding areas, and the effects of the proposed use on existing comprehensive plans. Use of enjoyment of other property. The interim use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted, and not substantially diminish or impair property values within the immediate vicinity. Development of surrounding property. The establishment of the interim use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant uses predominant in the area. Utilities, access roads, drainage, off-street parking, and loading spaces. Adequate measures will have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, and off-street parking and loading spaces. Nuisance conditions. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, water pollution, and soil erosion, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. Burden on public services. The use will not create an excessive burden on parks, schools, streets, water supply, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, and other public facilities or utilities which serve or are proposed to serve the area. Compatibility. The use will be sufficiently compatible or separated by distance or screening from adjacent agriculturally zoned or used land so that existing homes will not be depreciated in value and there will be no deterrence to agricultural use of said land. Appearance and structures in site. The structure in site shall have an appearance that will not have an adverse effect on adjacent residential properties. Relationship to overall needs. The use is, in the opinion of the Planning Commission, reasonably related to the overall needs of the district and to the existing land use. In the floodplain areas, the proof that the location is necessary for facility operation and that alternative sites not susceptible to flooding are not available. Consistency with ordinance. The use is consistent with the purposes of this ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Conflict with comprehensive plans. The use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan, if any, of the township, city, or county. Traffic hazards. The use will not cause traffic hazards, congestion, and in the floodplain areas has access during flooding for ordinary and emergency vehicles. Existing businesses. Existing businesses will not be adversely affected because curtailment of customer trade wrought by the intrusion of noise, glare, or general unsightliness. Okay, staff has 8 conditions up. And the applicant has been in contact with the appropriate Clay County offices and authority prior to this, so there shouldn't be any surprises. The applicant, growing up in a farm family himself, I believe understands that, you know, sometimes there'll be some noise involved, and with the beet piler, yep, there'll be some trucks and there may be some smell, and that you'll have to respect property lines. I think this is something that is needed, especially in the rural area. Anybody have any comments or additions? Commissioner Steichen?
Matt and Mr. Chair, Evenson's referenced, and it's probably good to make sure they are totally aware of it, they referenced a retreat center. That would create a whole new, to comply with that, I mean, this is for one specific purpose of basically spending the night, correct? Retreat center would involve a whole different process and restrictions and requirements, correct?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Commissioner Steichen, we do have separate requirements for a retreat center. That's not to say that they can't have their own kind of events or things that are part of the stay, I guess. But when you think of like a retreat center, like a wedding venue or something like that, yes, we do have different standards for that.
I'm not exactly sure what they were referencing, but I guess it's so they know that going in that
Yep.
they might have to come before us again.
But if there are activities just for guests, yeah, that would be appropriate.
I think the guests would be thrilled to have beet trucks and beet harvesters out there when they're there. If they're from the city, they'll think it's cool, so.
Mr. Chair, with this being an interim use, we would need to just make sure that the applicant would agree to these conditions.
Okay. Has the applicant had chance to look at these before now, or do they need to?
Just as they've been presented.
Okay. Has the applicant reviewed and able to operate if the permission is granted to operate within these 8? Okay, thank you. Okay, hearing no further questions or conditions, look for a motion to approve or disapprove the interim use permit.
I'll make a motion.
Conditions
to
1
approve
through
it.
8.
Conditions with 1 through 8.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Kurt, seconded by Kurt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Interim use permit is granted. Thank you. Okay. Next on the list is R.J. Zavril and Sons, an internal use renewal request for a temporary asphalt plant. Look for a motion to approve or to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Sebastian,
Second.
second by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Thank you. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this is a request for an interim use permit for a temporary placement of an asphalt batch plant. This is a property that is zoned agricultural general and resource protection aggregate. This is, this proposed use of the land for mining is allowed in these districts, as well as asphalt batch plants are allowed as an interim use. This is an 80-acre parcel in Hagen Township, just on the west side of County Road 27 and north of CASA County State Aid Highway 34. It's currently a gravel mine. So this property does have an extensive permit history from the county, ranging back to 2010. There was a conditional use permit granted for an asphalt batch plant, and then also a conditional use permit for a 20-acre mining operation that was given to a MINDAC. In 2017, there was a interim use permit for a 39.5-acre gravel mining operation that was granted to Alexandria Gravel Products. In 2018, there was also an interim use permit for a batch plant for Alexandria Gravel Products, and in 2019, an interim use permit was granted for a batch plant and for a 39.5-acre gravel mining operation as well. In 2019, RJ Zavral was granted the IUP for the batch plant and Alexandria Gravel Products for the mining operation. In 2020, there was also an interim use permit granted for an asphalt batch plant. I should note that these aren't different batch plants, they're all the same batch plants, so we don't have multiple batch plants operating off of this property. It's just the one. And then in 2021, there was an interim use permit for a gravel mining operation. So the request is a 5-year extension to the IUP that was granted in 2020. The current permit expires on the 25th of this year, of this month. It's sited near the center, the plant is sited near the center of the mine, does appear to meet the setbacks. Applicant doesn't intend to maintain haul roads and control for dust. The proposed hours of operation are Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., and that primary haul route would be south on County Road 27 and then east or west on County State Aid Highway 34. There are 5 properties along that haul road as well. There have been just a number of complaints since 2019, should note. And this is with regards to the batch plant, not the gravel mine. So this is the batch plant. Odor and dust seem to be the primary drivers of those complaints. The odor issues could potentially be mitigated using like a perfume or an additive or a misters in the stacks. Hauling complaints have reduced over time. There have been some complaints about the impact of dust control on vehicles. Dust that's originating, fugitive dust from the pit has been an issue. A lot of this is especially apparent on high wind days. So there should be dust control measures in the pit, especially when the batch plant is running. And the applicant has stated that they'd be willing to maybe suspend or reduce some operations on high wind days if possible. There have been issues with dogs and other employees' dogs. So dogs and other pets should be either banned on site or controlled. And then the property across the street is owned by Edward Mars. He does have an interim use permit for up to, I think, 5 campers to house workers temporarily who work at this site. We've had some complaints about additional campers on the property that has the batch plant as well. And so any workers who are staying in the area should stay on the Mars property. with the exception of maybe one on-site employee just for security and pit and plant management purposes. The township did hear an update from the applicant at their February 10th meeting. They didn't act on any permit renewal request at that time. They're working to update their township ordinance, zoning ordinance. And so they're hoping to hear that at their March meeting. How this request relates to our comprehensive and transportation plan goals and objectives. We have a goal to encourage commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with the ag and rural character of Clay County. Batch plants are industrial in nature. They're not necessarily in harmony with the ag and rural character of the county. They are essential for improving and maintaining our paved roadways within the county. They are temporary and project-based, and past plant history at this location suggests like a 4 to 6 weeks operational time throughout the summer months or the construction season. We have a objective to avoid or mitigate against commercial industrial development in near environmentally sensitive areas. So this is in an existing gravel pit. The haul routes are adjacent to prime wildlife habitat and land that we have zoned resource protection, biological protection. So if possible, water should be used for dust control and truck speed should be kept to a minimum just to keep the dust on the road. And we have an objective to avoid or mitigate against commercial or industrial development that increases the potential for land use conflicts with rural, residential, or agricultural uses. Just by their nature, batch plants are associated with noise and odors, so equipment should be maintained and muffled. They could potentially construct berms just to mitigate noise and visual impacts. They do have an air permit from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. The prevailing winds in this location are from the southeast to northwest, and there are residents that are directly downwind, at least a quarter mile of that batch plant. There are also residents along the Hall Road as well, so odor abatement, dust control, and reasonable operating hours should be in place to mitigate some of these conflicts, potential conflicts. Any questions for me at all?
So do you still anticipate a 6 to 8 week out of a 8 or 9 month construction?
That would be a good question for the applicant, what what it looks like for them this season.
Is the operation hours correct on there? 6 to 8?
That was from that's their requested hours, yeah.
Don't we have different hours that we've done with every other pit?
With pits, we've done, 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, and then hauling on Saturdays.
Just wonder if we should maintain continuity that way.
I can pull up their,
That in the
Yeah.
conditions? Okay, anyone else have any further questions for Matt?
Matt, and Mr. Chair, when it talks about the township heard an update at the February 10th meeting, did not act on a permit, they're working on township ordinance. I'm always a little confused when the township jurisdiction has restrictions that might conflict with ours. Does that create any issues? I mean, the permit application is expected to be heard at their March meeting. Should one come before the other?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Steichen, not necessarily, because they are two independent permits. We do like to, in an ideal world, they would be matched closely, but in this case, with Hagen Township also being a zoning authority, that can be more restrictive than the county. If they grant a permit and they put conditions on that permit, the more restrictive conditions would apply in that case. So they would be following the Hagen Township permit. So if we put operating hours of 24/7, 365, for example, and Hagen Township said no, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday hauling only, or, they would have to follow the Hagen Township.
Good enough.
The previous permit was, I can pull up the previous permit here, just so you can see the conditions. So they did have a 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday on their previous permit from 2020.
Thank you.
And I know too, just with batch plants, just with hours of operation, they can differ a little bit than like say your gravel mining operation, just because they're very job dependent, can impact the amount of time that an asphalt batch plant is on location, and can also impact the job itself and the length of that job, time and costs.
To your knowledge, has there been any violations of the air permit by the state?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, if nobody else has any comments or questions, I'd like to ask the applicant to come forward and state your name and your case, please.
Jeff Brooks, aggregate manager, RJ Zavarel and Sons. So, like Matt has stated, we have some history in the township. We are the third probably contractor that's held a permit on the property. I know there's been there was some issues with the Hall Road when before us. I believe we've at least alleviated most of it as far as dust control and blading. I know I've spoke with the county superintendent, Kim Carpenter, about it, and he gave me a little bit of a compliment anyways compared to the other contractors that are working in the county, that we've done a pretty good job of keeping the road passable. At the township meeting earlier this year, on the 10th, actually last week, it was stated that there was a few neighbors that were getting a little bit, getting the smell of the asphalt plant. So we have looked into a perfume system and what it would cost. The costs are not a problem for us, but we're basically doing a study on toxicity of what we're putting in there. We want to make sure that we're not, we're doing the right thing. And we're going to try to accommodate everyone and our surrounding neighbors as well as we can with their issues of what we have going on. We're out here just trying to service, trying to work, I guess, and we're trying to do our best and make all our neighbors. They're not going to like it, I guess, but they're, at least make us tolerable when we're around. As far as length for this year, we're looking, if anything, it's going to be 3 to 5 weeks. We don't have any work out of there right now, but the bidding season is ongoing, so I don't see an asphalt plant being there longer than 5 weeks. If we do get something, it's probably going to be a 3-week period for this season.
Okay, Matt had mentioned something about some loose dog complaints.
So we had there was it was a subcontractor that was taking material out of the water that we had hired. One of their employees had a dog running around, and killed some of Josh's, I don't know if they killed him. Did they kill him? Yeah, they got into some of his chickens. So that was, yeah, not good. So yes, that was an issue.
And that you guys have taken care of that internally?
Correct.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak for or against? If so, please come to the podium and state your name.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Josh Carlson that Mr. Brooks had just referenced. Couldn't get my pen to work on my knee real quick, so I just jotted it down on my phone. You know, I was here a year ago, talked a little bit about the pit. I think today specifically with the asphalt plant, I come to you as a father. I have a 2-year-old son. He was a preemie baby, so he has underdeveloped lungs. So he's got chronic health issues that way. Actually, right now he's at home with pneumonia. So unfortunately, it's one of those things that I need to advocate for my son, and that's really why I'm here today. At the annual meeting last year, the township members that did go to that meeting did discuss it quite a bit about the asphalt plant, and they, you know, there was a majority of the members in our township that disagreed with having the asphalt plant. And in the last 12 months, we've looked at having a lawyer look at different revisions. You know, obviously, Mr. Steichen had talked a little bit about some confusion at that part. Right now, there's basically they tabled the position for a vote because one of the members has a family member that might be directly impacted financially from the situation with a nearby store. So it's not like it's anything nefarious whatsoever. So they didn't feel comfortable making a vote last in February. Sorry, not used to talking in front of a lot of people like this. So I just want to bring up one point. It came to my attention that Zavrel's crew did look at going to a different pit, and that was not allowed because of a butterfly. So I bring that up because the state or the EPA makes restrictions to make sure we protect a butterfly. Well, I have a 2-year-old son. I'm just here to advocate for him. So just looking for some protections for him. And lastly, I guess I was curious, and I know this isn't supposed to be a dialogue, Mr. Chair, but when you say 5-year, if you could expand on that whatsoever. I wasn't sure if this is supposed to be a 1-year interim year use permit or if it was going to be a 5-year. I'd appreciate any kind of clarity there whatsoever. But thank you for your time. I appreciate
The
it.
permit request is for a 5-year extension.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Josh? Okay. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak on this matter? Anyone else in the audience wish to speak on this matter? Hearing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Sebastian,
Second.
second by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. Okay, time for the findings of fact, the effective use. In granting an interim use, the planning commission shall consider the effect of the proposed use upon the health, safety, morals, general welfare of occupants of surrounding lands, existing and anticipated land uses, traffic conditions, including parking facilities on adjacent streets and land, and the effect on agricultural usage and values of property and scenic views in the surrounding areas, and the effect of the proposed use on existing comprehensive plan.
Would this be, I guess I didn't catch where the fellow, talking about the nuisance, where's the fellow that spoke, where does he live in relationship to this batch plant? Can you,
Directly to the north.
like how far?
Just, the residence is probably about just over 1,000 feet from the.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and, staff in its notes has anticipated 4 to 6 weeks. As he stated there, he's anticipating 3 to 5 weeks, however, they're bidding, but there are no projects currently projected to come out of there. Use and enjoyment of other property. The interim use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted, and not substantially diminish or impair property values within the immediate vicinity. Say that the use is temporary and it will impact development of surrounding property. The establishment of the interim use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. Nothing else can be built currently. Utilities, access road, drainage, off-street parking, and loading spaces. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, off-street parking, and loading spaces. And any staging of trucks must occur within the pit and not on County Road 27. Nuisance conditions. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, water pollution, and soil erosions, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such a manner that no distance to neighboring properties will result. Burden on public services. The use will not create an excessive burden on parks, schools, streets, water supply, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, and other public facilities or utilities which serve or propose to serve in the area. Operator has a history of maintaining the haul road, so that will hopefully continue. Compatibility, the use will be sufficiently compatible or separated by distance or screening from adjacent agriculturally zoned or used land so that existing homes will not be depreciated in value, and there will be no deterrence to agricultural use of said land. Property currently meets all the setbacks. Appearance of structure in site. The structure in site shall have an appearance that will not have an adverse effect upon adjacent residential properties. They can put it far enough back in the pit so nobody can see it or visibility is minimal. Relationship to overall needs. The use is, in the opinion of the Planning Commission, reasonably related to the overall needs of the district and to the existing land use. In the case of the floodplain areas, the proof that the location is necessary for facility operation and that alternative sites not susceptible to flooding are not available. Consistency with ordinance. The use is consistent with the purposes of this ordinance and the purposes of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. Conflict with comprehensive plans. The use is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan, if any, of the township, city, or county. Traffic hazards, congestion in the floodplain area. The use will not cause traffic hazards, congestion in floodplain areas, has access during flooding for ordinary and emergency vehicles. Yes, it will temporarily increase truck traffic above and beyond what comes out of the pit for short periods of time. Existing businesses. Existing businesses nearby will not be adversely affected because of curtailment of customer trade brought about by intrusion of noise, glare, or general unsightliness. Okay, and staff has some proposed conditions. I know Sebastian had mentioned perhaps modifying number 5 right out of the gate, regarding the hours?
I think we keep it continue with everything else we do. All
With
other-
the 7-7?
Yeah, that's been our standard, might as well keep it the same.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
No, Mr. Chair, that odor abatement was something that was mentioned. Is that something you want to put as a specific condition?
Well, I personally struggle with the word perfume because all you're doing is covering it. Now, if there was some technology where you could do a water mist that actually reduced the odor without just masking it, perhaps, but if they're not in violation of any air standards, how do you do that?
Now, my understanding is there are some other options or alternatives, misters being one of them, but it's not my area of expertise, but I just know that, and so I don't know, one, cost, I don't know, two, the ability to get something like that installed and up and running in the time frame.
And I would encourage the applicant to look into that and do something, the same way with, the loose dog thing, you can say that, and you did, that it was a subcontractor, but you ultimately are responsible for everybody on there. It doesn't, who they work for doesn't matter. So do we looking for a condition 9 regarding odor reducement? Commissioner Steichen?
Matt and Mr. Chair, I do feel for Mr. Carlson's issue with his child. It's not what a person wants to have, if it's dust or odor, but covering up the odor's still there. I mean, you don't smell it as much, so, but this plant has been there for quite a few different times, so, I don't know if they can do something locally in their township or not, but I would think it'd be important to, like what Mr. Chair had talked about, looking into the other alternatives to actually, I don't know what the misting does, if it drops the particles down or what, but maybe it's cost prohibitive, I don't know. But I would think that should be another condition, that it should be explored at the very least. I don't know how you put that in there without requiring it.
Anyone have any suggestions?
I know he talked about looking into it already there, so I just don't know exactly how you want to word it, but it sounds like they're trying to be proactive on the smells already. Just try to maintain that, I guess. I don't know the right way to say that, Matt.
So maybe we do not need a condition 9? The applicant is already,
I think we still have it in there just in case,
Okay.
because we just don't want to overlook it.
okay, Matt, let's come up with a condition 9. See, how did we do it with the guy with the noise with the saw?
I would just, a recommended condition would be that odor mitigation measures
Explored?
must be in place.
Okay. Okay.
Or must be employed while batch plant is in operation. And again, just because with this being an interim use permit request, and especially because it's a renewal request, we will want to make sure that the applicant is accepting of these conditions.
Okay. Are we done with? Okay. Can the applicant work with the tweak in hours and the odor? Okay, applicant applies affirmatively. Okay, hearing no further discussion, look for a motion to approve or disapprove a 5-year interim use permit extension with conditions 1 through 9.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kurt Stubsted,
Second.
second by Kurt
The other Kurt.
Skirvin. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
He's
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. A 5-year extension is granted.
And Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I'll be sure to keep you up to date on the Hagen Township ordinance and the permit renewal, because if Hagen Township decides that they're going to either do a ban on batch plants in their township or deny their permit for this particular batch plant, then essentially they wouldn't be able to operate.
Yes. Unfinished business.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, this is the end of the first term for Brad Eldred. Brad is unable to be here tonight just because there is a city council meeting for Holly. He is on the Holly City Council. And so with that, he has indicated that he'd be willing to go for another 3 years, and I'd be looking for a motion for a recommendation for appointment to a second term for Brad.
Motion by
I'll offer that motion for Brad.
Commissioner Kujau, second by Sebastian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Brad is back.
If the board reappoints him. So I'll be bringing that the next
Go
meeting.
to the commissioners?
Yep.
Okay.
Chair, excuse me, who seconded that, please?
I did.
Sebastian.
Thank you.
Use permit violations update.
Yes, Mr. Chair, you had, at our last meeting, looking for just a update on use permit violations, any that are active or outstanding. Don't want to get into specifics on, just because the parties are not here, not appropriate to talk about them in a public meeting. But we do currently have basically two businesses that one's a home-based business, one's an equestrian horse-related business that just need permits, essentially, is what they need. So we're kind of getting to the stage where we've referred them to the county's attorney's office, essentially to compel them to apply for a permit. So that's kind of where we're at with those. Those are the two right now.
Isn't that unusual? That you would, once you tell them they need a permit, normally they,
It's only happened one time for me in my almost 6 years here. And that was one that was recently heard and resolved. Yep. So, see if it appears that they would meet at least one of them would meet all the standards. So really, if they would just apply for the permit, it would likely be granted just because they meet the standards. So it's just encouraging them to apply. That's the
Sometimes they need a little push.
encouragement has has moved, we're moved past the encouragement stage. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. New business, election of officers.
Yes, so it is that time of year where we would conduct our election of officers. I just have from our bylaws kind of the procedure for that. So you should also have the kind of description of each of the officer positions. We do have a chair, vice chair, and secretary position that we will need to vote for. The procedure would be that we would start with the chair, and it's a ballot system. So you should have a little slip of paper and a envelope to put your write down your person that you would like to see as the chair. Once we're finished with the chair, we would move on to vice chair and secretary. I should just ask, is there anyone who would not want to be considered for chair, or is there anyone that would like to be considered for chair?
I think it's important to note that I cannot be.
Yes, it's going to note Commissioner Mojo could not serve as the chair or the vice chair.
Can I
I think I would decline too, only because this is my last
Sure.
round.
Can I volunteer just to be secretary? Or does it
I should say too that Laura, she's out of town, but she has indicated, she's currently the secretary. She would be, she has expressed interest or willingness to remain on as secretary too.
Yeah, that works.
So that's the active campaigning is that we've received for this election season is Laura's willing to be secretary.
And I would like to be chair.
So with that, I think we could do the voting and
Anybody volunteer for vice chair?
I know we're just at quorum too, so
There's only one Kurt left, just saying.
Dave, come on, guys.
I can be vice chair.
There you go, Dave. Peer pressure.
And actually, I'm willing.
might as well.
Do we even need to? What was her name again for secretary? I was thinking Linda.
So do all of Susaman or one at a time?
We have to start with the chair, then we go to vice chair.
You've seen everybody's handwriting, Rita.
Congratulations, Mr. Hillebrand. You will be our chair for the next year. All right. Vice chair now, yep. I would maybe support or recommend amending our bylaws to make this more like the show Survivor. And we get the music and a little tiki thing, yep. And you all go up and cast your votes.
But
quiet, that's my fault. Be quiet, it's the longest.
That's usually how that happens.
And Laura will be our secretary for next year, so. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Any,
Yeah, one other piece of new business is we do have a opening on the planning commission for a rural member. We've had some interest. We have had one individual submit a interest form, and then we've also had a couple who have reached out about it. And we do have Marcia Jorgensen here, just living out in the Glendon area, who has expressed interest in that position. I think she just came tonight to check it all out and see if it's something she'd be interested in doing. And I know it's something that we like to keep open for a couple months, especially with our code update and things like that. But just want to know that position is open as well. So, any questions for me?
is no, you're on your last year, so it'll be 11 months from now, right? Or
I think it's August is your term, I want to say. Yeah, September or August, yep. So we'd have another opening at that time too. Yep. Typically, traditionally or historically, that's your responsibility and privilege, but yep. Yeah.
Okay. Hearing nothing further, look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Kurt, second by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.